Welcome everybody to another class on advanced idioms and phrasal verbs. I take all of these phrasal verbs and idioms from a book called Advanced Idioms and Phrasal Verbs, and you can find this book online. It's by Oxford University Press, but I always recommend my own book, Visual Phrasal Verbs. All of the phrasal verbs here, they don't all appear in the original book, the white book, Advanced Phrasal Verbs and Idioms, but they do all appear in my own book. You can find this book on Amazon if you want to buy a physical copy. There's plenty of pictures inside. It's the black and white copy, which is £20, but the pictures are still decent quality and you've got loads of exercises there. Or you can buy the PDF from my website, which is skype-lessons.com, and the PDF is fully in colour, and it has loads of hyperlinks as well, so you can jump to the answers. It should be nice and clear and easy to use. But the main thing is that it does have a lot of different phrasal verbs, and it goes through all the verbs, first of all, make, do, come, get, play, put, and many others, set, hold, many others that are in this playlist of videos. And then it goes through the prepositions: on, off, out, in, up, down, together, around, through, all of those as well. So there's plenty of material inside to get these phrasal verbs to sink in. Hi lolly lolly. So firstly, in dribs and drabs. If people arrive at a party in dribs and drabs, it means they arrive slowly in small numbers. Hi there, Alexandro. So in dribs and drabs, it means in small numbers, gradually. People can leave a party in dribs and drabs. They can arrive at a party in dribs and drabs. Money can come in dribs and drabs, meaning in small amounts, slowly. So that's not fantastic. You really want to be raking in the money, yeah? And raking in is certainly in this book. So you want to be raking in the money. You don't really want to be earning money in dribs and drabs because it's small amounts, or small amounts or small numbers. Now, if you throw something together, or knock something together, or cobble something together, it means you make something, as in construct something physical, usually physical. Maybe not though, you might throw together something else, but you make something, and you do so very often with minimum time or resources. Especially cobble something together or knock something together, but even throw. It sounds like you don't have many, you don't have a great deal of different things or different equipment to use. So you do it with minimum time and minimum resources. So you can also say knock something up, which means to make something with minimum time and minimum resources. So these three, they didn't appear in the Advanced Phrasal Verbs and Idioms book. I used my own book as a reference to find all three of those. But there are lots actually with together that mean to make. So you can glue something together, meaning attach things together. You can also patch something together, which usually means repair. When you patch something up or patch something together, you're repairing it. You can lash something together, meaning tie it together. So there are loads of together phrasal verbs, and there's a whole chapter in my book about together phrasal verbs, which deals with all of them, as well as a chapter on and off and all the other prepositions. So please do consider buying that book. I know hundreds of you have already bought it, and I'd like to say thanks for all of that support. I really appreciate it, and it keeps me making these lessons. So when you buy my book, you are encouraging me to make more of these lessons. Now lay something down. I took this definition from my book. It wasn't in the Advanced Phrasal Verbs and Idioms. You might just lay something down on the table. I could take the book and lay it down on the table like that. It might mean put something down. But it's very often used when you lay down the law, or you lay down some rules, or you lay down some guidelines. Maybe you're putting up your cousin. Yeah, I've used this example a few times now, meaning he's coming to your house and you're letting him stay. You're putting him up for a few days. And you say, I'll put you up for a few days, but I want to lay down some guidelines. I want to tell you the rules about living in my house. And that's what it means. Lay down the rules, lay down the law, lay down the guidelines. So you can lay down those three things as well. Anything to do with rules, laws or guidelines will work there. But you can also lay down your life, meaning sacrifice your life. So the soldiers of the Second World War who died during that conflict, they laid down their lives in the name of, well, there are lots of different arguments here, but in the name of perhaps freedom or democracy, or perhaps the fight against fascism or something like that. But they laid down their lives in order to achieve victory. And so you lay down your life when you sacrifice yourself. You could even lay down weapons. That's one other thing. You might say lay down your weapons, meaning, you know, put them down, give up. Okay, if you hold the floor for a few minutes, this is used for when you're giving a presentation and when you're the person with the microphone. You hold the floor when you're the speaker. If you are the speaker and you've got a few minutes to speak, you are holding the floor. So it's an idiom that means that you have the microphone and you have everybody's attention. You hold the floor, meaning you're on the main stage and you're the main person. You're giving the presentation. Now, hopefully, when you give that presentation, you don't ramble on or waffle on or drone on or go on or rabbit on or bang on about something boring. Now, a lot of these sound like boring. When you ramble, it sounds like you're not speaking directly. You're speaking quite indirectly, you're digressing, you're making lots of digressions when you ramble. And if you waffle, it sounds like you're not speaking clearly, not in the sense of audibly clearly, but in the sense of confused ideas. And so anybody who's waffling, they're speaking in a confusing way, and they're perhaps confusing their audience. So these are really quite negative. Ramble on, waffle on. Drone on sounds boring, incredibly boring. And even the others, go on about, rabbit on about, bang on about, they sound like you're boring the audience. These three are particularly informal, even though the first ones could be considered neutral. They're totally neutral, but the last ones are pretty informal. Bang on about and rabbit on about are particularly informal. And I want you to remember that you rabbit on about something, but you rabbit on at somebody. He rabbited on at me about his divorce. Yeah, something like that, meaning he went on and on and on at me about his divorce. So look at the different prepositions. At somebody, about something. Again, all of these phrasal verbs, I've taken them, of course, from the book, so please do consider buying that book. Now, the meeting might run over, meaning that it goes on for longer than planned. If the meeting runs over, it goes on for longer than planned in some kind of way. Now, I want to remind you of two other phrasal verbs, which I've reminded myself of by flicking through the pages of the book. You can draw the meeting out for 3 hours,